I'm one of the few officers who've been involved with this Agniveer scheme right from the time people thought about the scheme. This I would say way back in 2020 when I was the Vice Chief of Defence Staff with General Rawat. So that is the time this Agnipath scheme was being thought of at the very basic stages, and it went through various iterations, a lot of discussions with the services. There were naysayers, some were for it, against it, and so on. So finally, when the decision was taken to implement it, and the firm shape was given to this scheme, I was lucky to be in the chair as the Chief of Naval Staff, and the Navy fully supported the scheme. We were very clear that this is the way to go. And I'm very fond of saying that Agnipath, if you look at it as an acronym, I think it speaks for itself. Okay, the first A stands for Azadi Ka Amrit Kal scheme. That means a scheme for the future, for your next, as you transit the next 25 years, this is a scheme for you. G, it's a growth-oriented scheme. It will provide you a lot of qualified people for industry and the rest of the nation whenever they finish their service and join. And for a nationalistic scheme, it generates fervor to serve, to put on the uniform and to contribute. What is the difference? Earlier also there were people who wanted to serve, but now the opportunities are much more. Earlier we used to induct about 3,000 personnel in a year. Now, as we progress, we will be able to take almost 3 times, 3.5 to 4 times the number every year. So there are opportunities for more people to serve, maybe for shorter durations. So that is the nationalistic and nation building part of it. And I would say in Agni that is for greater interaction with the civil population. That is, there is going to be greater, interaction between the military and the civil society, which is what we want. We want the both to be integrated better. As of today, we have representation in the Navy from 656 districts. But the vision of the national leadership is to have an Agniveer from every block and subsequently an Agniveer from every village. Because that is true integration of the armed forces with the civil society. Okay, and when you talk of the other 4, PATH, a patriotic scheme, those, patriotic fervor, then it's an Atmanirbhar scheme. That means a scheme for India, made in India, made for India, made for us. Similar schemes are there in various other countries, but it's a scheme for us. T, I would say, is a transformation. It's a transformative scheme. It's going to transform the armed forces. You'll see that we have an average age profile of about 32 as of now. It is going to come down drastically. It will come down to somewhere around 25, 26, or maybe even 24 over a period of time. So it's a transformative scheme. And the last H, I would say, is it's a harnessing of the human resources of a country, where we are enjoying the youth dividend, and therefore it's an opportunity for us to harness the more tech-savvy youngsters, and it's a win-win, I would say, for both for the armed forces as well as for the nation.
Well, that's interesting. I never heard that you could sort of spin this into an acronym and then elaborate on it. That's a nice way of sort of putting it out there. But several questions have been raised on this scheme, and I think you're quite aware of some of the concerns. How do you address these concerns that battle readiness will be sort of found wanting, military bond, among other things, because sort of, forces are coming in, forces are going out? How do you build a cohesive unit, a cohesive fighting force?
Yeah, these were questions which have been raised over a period of time. I mean, I've been hearing it from the time we have voiced our support for the scheme and how to take it forward. But I think most of it is misplaced and I would say misinformed. Firstly, there is really no change in the training. There were apprehensions that the training is going to be cut down and the people will be ill-trained and all that. I think that's just, it's a figment of imagination, I would say. Even before this scheme, any trainee who joins the armed forces, he goes through a basic recruit training. And the recruit training varies in the services between 16 weeks to 18 weeks, maybe, 19, 20 weeks. All that has happened in this case is to reduce it marginally by a couple of weeks. And how do you ensure that the training quality doesn't suffer? Through to better training processes, through greater involvement, use of simulators, and cutting down certain subjects which have probably outgrown their utility and so on. And after the recruit training, they go on for professional training. The professional training is for another about 4 to 5 months, depending upon the trade that he takes up, whether he's a mechanician, electrician, or whether he's a gunnery rating or anti-submarine warfare rating, etc. So they go for training, which now hardly any change has been brought in that. Now, after this first, I would say, recruit training as well as the professional training, there is no other training which is given even today till that sailor completes about 6 years of service. So, by the time we talk of the next level of training, he's already crossed the 4-year mark. So, whoever is being retained, we are going to continue the training. So, that is as far as the training part is concerned. There has been a lot of issues raised about, cohesion within the unit. But let me tell you, in the Navy, we serve in different ships. It's not that we remain on the same ship for years together. So we serve on a ship for, a year or 2 years at best, and then we move on to another ship. There is no, and that is a pattern which is followed in all navies. So there is no question of, any lack of cohesion. I would say there are two aspects to cohesion. When you talk of social cohesion, when you talk of task cohesion. Social cohesion perhaps may require, being together for a certain amount of time, etc. But when you talk of task cohesion, it is the type of work you do, the involvement of the team, how much of, difficulty, hardships that you face together, what are the challenges, and the sense of, belongingness that comes in. So, in a ship, the moment you join, you're part of the team, and it is the motivation that comes in along with that. So, I've served in so many ships, and we keep shifting from one ship to another. So it doesn't take much time to be part of the team and be cohesive enough. So many of these are just viewed or aired by various people who are not really fully, I would say, informed about the.
Do you think they have a motivated interest?
Pardon me?
Do you think they have a motivated interest to try and continue with the status quo?
I would say, there's a saying by Liddell-Hart, Captain Basil Liddell-Hart. He was a strategist who retired from the armed forces. He said that the only thing more difficult to take out from the mind of a military man or a military mind, only thing more difficult than putting in a new idea into a military mind is to take out an old one. So, that is the challenge. So many people find it very difficult to think differently.
Out of the box.
Yeah. So, of course, there are motivated interests. There are a lot of people who are running academies for, induction into service, etc. They all have their own, viewpoints, etc. But when you look at being progressive and being in line with what is happening all over the world and how to, look at the aspirations of youth, then I think this is the way ahead.